talk about cutting Baba's signals. Shanti.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation and to be here again with you. I know in many countries it's very warm, but here it's cold. So, so it's okay. So I wish you the best. I know that the heat there is being very strong. So I hope all the Brahmins, the whole family is okay. So to catching Baba's signals, how to do it, what to do about that, and what's it exactly. I just want to start by reading a piece of except of a Murli. You know, we work on producing books. So last year we did a book on virtues. This year we are going to do a book on powers. So we did a little research on the power, catching power and touching power. So this is from a Murli on October 11th, 2020. The original date is 31st March 1986. According to the time, to the extent that the atmosphere of peacelessness and upheaval is increasing, so the line of your intellect has to be very clear, because the two powers, touching power, so the power to receive touches from Baba, and catching power are very necessary. Firstly, you must be able to catch Baptada's directions with your intellect. If the line is not clear, then the dictates of your own mind will also be mixed with Baptada's directions. Then, because of the mixture, you will be deceived at that time. The clearer your intellect is, the more clearly you'll be able to catch Baptada's directions. The clearer the line of your intellect is, the more easily the powers for yourself, for growth in terms of service, and for being a bestower and giving to others will easily continue to increase. You will have a touching at that time. This is the accurate method for serving a particular soul and the accurate method for self-progress. So that will be the touching. So at present, both these powers are most essential. In order to increase them, you have to become one who is economical and belongs to one. So you belong to the one Father and none other. Om Shanti. So this little excerpt of a Murli summarizes the need and what it is or what they are, two special powers, and how to get signs from Baba. Is that Baba going to send a WhatsApp to me? You know, I'll read the WhatsApp. Oh, WhatsApp from God. Baba. No, it's not. My intellect, and Baba used the expression, the line of my intellect has to be extremely clear so that Baba will give the touching and I'll be able to catch that sign and use it. And so I'll be successful. So let's try to understand a little bit with an example from the past. So there is a city in India by the name of Bhopal. And Bhopal is famous because of the worst industrial accident. You know, there was a spill of chemical in the air. Thousands and thousands of people, they died. Sometime later, the Purity magazine published an article, and I was fascinated by what was saying. So one of the center, at least the center of Bhopal, Baba's place in Bhopal, everyone went for a retreat. Exactly that time, they were in a retreat. So that's the first thing. See the amazing magic of Baba. But one sister stayed back. So she was there at the house at the time of the spill. And without knowing, without having any information, I'm talking of the time there was no internet, no nothing. So she just started to close all the windows, all the doors. So she closed herself inside the house. Second thing, she felt like she wanted to go to meditate. And Baba's room was in the basement or some like by a basement there. So she went there. And when she was there, she started to feel hot. So she switched on the fan. Because of the fan, she started to feel cold. So she took a blanket and she covered herself. Many of you have seen how people in India, they cover themselves completely, like a caterpillar, totally. And she stayed in that position until someone came back and was able to rescue her. And she didn't have any idea of what was going on. I mean, that's how it works, the Baba's touching. So it's not that Baba will give us a WhatsApp or will tell us exactly what's going on. And probably it would be very funny that you have your fan on and you are wearing a blanket. That is very strange. But all those things together protected that sister. So she didn't get poisoned. She didn't feel bad and she was safe. So that's the power. So don't you want that? Don't you want that at some bad situation, some crisis, that Baba tells you, call this person, go to that place, do this, and everything gets settled? Don't you want that? I think all of us want that. And especially now with the war going on, with the climate change. I was just seeing a summary about the tornado there or hurricane, small hurricane there in Europe, which was very strange. The heat waves, uh, uh, floods in other places. There are fires in other places. I mean, it's totally crazy. Okay. And also the social political upheaval everywhere, at every place. So as destruction is coming, approaching us very fast, those two powers will need a lot and a lot. And because Baba was talking about line, I like to think the touching power as a straight line to Baba, like a vertical line. So that means my intellect is clean. Try now. So I'm not thinking about other things. Some are at the time of dinner, others are at the time of lunch. I'm not thinking about those things. So I have to do what Baba teaches us, to put a full stop, to just close the windows of the mind. And so the mind doesn't disturb the intellect. And the intellect can only see Baba, only Baba. Can be Bapdada, Sato Baba, can be just the incorporeal Baba. And my intellect is in that direction. So in this way, I create a line with Baba as the yoga. And Baba is able to send me signs in terms of service, in terms of my own self-progress, in terms of my own care. So he will send all that he can. The problem is Baba doesn't speak Turkish, Greek, Portuguese, Spanish, Hindi. Yeah, Shiv Baba doesn't speak Hindi about that. He doesn't speak any language, any human language. So I have to understand, interpret that sign. That's why my intellect has to be totally clear. So I can understand what that sign means to me. And it will be subtle. It won't be very clear. So many years ago, decades ago, I was involved in a robbery. No, Baba's place was robbed. And the night before, we didn't know what will happen, of course. And something very strange happened. And I was never able to remember exactly what was it. But we had a old wardrobe in that house. And in that wardrobe, in the top shelf, we had lots of equipment, but they were all damaged. I don't know why we kept them, but they were all damaged. And we kept, they were there. For some reason, I took a good tape recorder. Do you remember tape recorders still? Yeah, yeah. So I took a good tape recorder and I put there. I don't know why. I mean, that was the damaged equipment. I don't know why I put a good one there, but I did it. Also, there was a telephone telephone set, and it was also there. I didn't think, but the next day, when the thieves were there, they went through. We were there also. We are hostages for some minutes, and they saw the wardrobe. They saw what was there, but they only saw the damaged ones. So they didn't take anything. So when they left, at least we had a good tape recorder. So we could have course and kind of things. And we had also a telephone set, so we could connect and call people. We start to call Brahmi to tell them. And it was a very small thing, maybe. You know, it would be better if Baba sent me the message, thieves are coming, so be careful. Don't open the door. Don't keep. In fact, the sister, she left the door open, so don't do it. Probably that would be more useful. But that's not Baba. Baba is not useful. Baba is God. So he'll tell you inside your drama, inside your karmic account situation, uh, taking into account all of your circumstances, Baba will tell you what he can tell you. At least it was a relief. Not only relief, it showed there is Baba's magic. A little bit it was, but it was very powerful, very good. And that's what will happen to me if I have that line of the intellect clear. But in other situations, I noticed with myself, I received Baba's touching, but I'm also thinking of something else. So let's say Baba is telling me, do this, but I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the other thing. And so I go and do the other thing. And after a while, I realized what Baba was showing me, that was the right way. So it's not only the line of the intellect has to be clear, heart also has to be clean. So I shouldn't have any desires, intentions. I shouldn't have any prejudice against other people either. I should be totally clean. Because probably Baba's touching, particularly at the end, they won't be logical at all, no logic. They will probably indicate to me to do something I don't like, because otherwise, why to have touching? If Baba is telling me to eat ice cream, he doesn't need to do his job. I can eat ice cream very easily by myself. But if it's to eat broccoli, then he'll have to do something very strongly, you know. So Baba's touching is something that the intellect has to receive, but the heart, that is that deep part of your mind that's always thinking about someone, about something, that part of your mind where you keep memories, where we keep names of people, what they did, the toli I received, the times I went to Madhva. So that heart has to be totally clean too. So it doesn't interfere into Baba's touching. So Ramesh Bhai, when he came to Colombia, he was telling us the story. He had many roles in the Yagya. He was from Bombay, Mumbai. He was the Baba's accountant there at that time, but he was very much, he had lots of influence into everything that was happening. One of his roles was to approve houses for Baba, purchasing of houses. So the system was simple. A center would contact him, he would travel to their place, he will see the house, and he will take the decision if we can buy or not. Okay, so that's fine. So there was one center, so they did that. They did the whole process. The thing is, they had to pay. I think in many countries is the same system. You have to pay something. You have to pay in advance a certain amount, and that amount of money is not coming back. So when you pay, you lose it if you give up on the house. So when he went there, he saw the house, and immediately he received Baba's touching. No, that was the Baba's touching. No way. So it was not Baba's message. He was not a trans messenger. He just received that very strong touching. Do not buy this house. So the family was very upset with him. They liked the house. They had given the money. They will lose the money. So they appeal to the high court. So Dadi Kumarka, Dadi Prakashmani at that time. So they appealed to her. They said, look at what Ramesh is doing with us. So Dadi Kumarka, she called him. She asked him why. He said he didn't know. He was very honest. Why? But he knew they shouldn't buy that house. So that Kumarka just thought about, and she respected his role. So she told the family, you have to look for another house. So they lost that money, and eventually they bought the house. And eventually he went back there when there was another house. And they were living in the house, so the center was working there, etc. And when he was there, he was curious to know why. Why did Baba send him a touching to not buy a house? So he went there, and he found out the house now was airport, airport track. So airport lane, So that means if they had bought the house, the government would come, will tell them, get out from here. We are building this airport. And so they would lose the house. And also, the governments, sometimes they don't pay the fair price. They pay always less. So they will lose much more money than they lost at that time. So many times, Baba's touching, you only know what was that about hours later, days later, or even years later. Or in the case of destruction, maybe you won't ever know, because things will happen and you won't be able to understand why you are doing this. Why is Baba telling you to do that? And why only you know? Why not Maria? Why not, other people? What's going on here? Why is that? And the reason is your intellect was able to catch that sign. So Baba touched you, but you have to be able to take that also. So I hope that's clear. Yeah. So that's the first part. So I'm going to use here the idea of a GPS system, because I think in every country, everywhere, people are using GPS. So you all know. So you are lost, you are in a place. So you take the GPS, and so the GPS, like I use Google Maps, it's the easiest one. It's very clear, no problem. So Google Maps tells me, oh, you have to go 3 blocks and turn right, and that's the place where you have to go. That's fine. That's great. So the touching power is like a GPS. Problem is, sometimes there is interference, as we said, and the interference can come from many different directions too. Not only your own mammoth, not only your own ideas, it can come from other areas too. So I remember one brother. So I was in Peace Village. Some of you don't know Peace Village. It's our retreat place near New York. But near is like 3 hours far from New York, from Manhattan. And it's the mountains. It's beautiful, very beautiful. And many times we have a retreat. I just came back from one last month. We are there. And so someone brings us to the airport. Because they don't have many people to bring people to the airport, many times people who don't know much, they will get that task. So I remember 2 cases, and the 2 cases, one was very fresh just now, and the other case was very funny. It was brother from California. California is the opposite side of the United States. And Californians, I don't know if there is anyone from California there, but they are very light. They very smiling, so they don't worry much. Okay, so there is this brother, small brother there, and he used New York, so he knew a bit about New York, but he was using GPS, and there was one point the GPS was telling him to turn right, and he didn't turn right. He said, "No, not here. Later." I imagine that one day the GPS will be a very sophisticated AI, artificial intelligence, because at that time the GPS will argue with him because he was ignoring all the announcements of the GPS. He was not obeying GPS at all. He was following his own mammoth totally, with all the respect. And he even called a friend, an old friend from New York, about something. We end up in a place that no Brahmin should go there, really. It was a very bad place of New York. These places you watch in the movies with bullets flying, but no bullets, no problem. Nothing happened badly. But we arrived at the airport like half an hour later or even more. And that because simply he couldn't prevent himself to follow his own dictate. Again, Baba's touching is very light, it's very soft, very soft. It's not something too clear. So your heart, you have to start cleaning right now, from this moment. Your intellect, you have to clean from this moment. The second case, however, is related to the other power, the catching power. So this brother who took me from the airport to Baba's house in New York, I was spending one night there, from Peace Village to Baba's house. So he is very good. He's very special. He talks a lot and he has so many stories. He's a very interesting brother. He conquered everyone there. But he's not good following GPS at all. So I try to be his co-pilot, but I'm not original from New York. And really, he gave me a tour in Manhattan, and I think we arrived there at Baba's house like 45 minutes later. Because it's not only that you need that clear line in relation to Baba, you also need knowledge. So you need the vertical line, but you also need a horizontal line. And the horizontal line is this catching power. So I can understand when I see a situation, I can understand what's going on, what's happening here. So I know it because the brother, he was from another city, so he didn't know New York either. I didn't know New York either. So nobody in the car knew New York so well. So we got lost. Even so, we had GPS there. Uh, and that can happen to you too, because Baba gives you such a subtle touching that you can easily misinterpret the touching. You can understand it in a wrong way. Mm. So, what to do? So, I use an example of COVID. When COVID started, the pandemic starts, well, the COVID didn't leave us. There are about 10 people with COVID here in Bogota, so it didn't leave us. It's part of Bogota is the land of 1,000 flu, 1,000, 1,000 fevers. So COVID is one more, no problem. But the pandemic, when it started, I was there in India. I was there in Gyansarovar. And I tell you, Didi Nimala, she was scaring us every day because she's a doctor. So she talks too openly about things. And every day she was giving news. Oh, Europe, they closed the borders. Oh, India is closing the border for England. United States, everywhere was closing the borders. Everything was happening. And I was there. I was there. So I was sitting in the Murli after the Dinema used to give the news at the end of the Murli. So I was there sitting in the Murli. So I asked Baba. I did ask Baba, is this the destruction? Because if it is the destruction, I have to stay there in Gesarova. I shouldn't go away. I shouldn't move. I should stay there. And I just asked that from Baba. And in the Murli, there was a phrase or two, and then the word came, rehearsal. It is a rehearsal. I couldn't believe that word doesn't show up in the Murlis many times. Remember, when was the last time you heard that word in the Murli? Rehearsal. Baba doesn't use many times. So it was amazing. I just asked Baba something, and he gave me the word. It's a rehearsal. And it was. We are still here. Pandemic is over. Everything is over. Many Brahmins, they bet their lives in terms that service won't go back in person. That's the end. This is the end. We are still here. It was just a rehearsal. And it was very important that for me to understand the catching power. Because catching power doesn't mean that I will start to study, research, and read many newspapers to understand the present situation. I'll ask Baba. But I know the situation. I can see with my eyes. I can hear what's going on. I can feel it. I ask Baba. And Baba gives me the answer. How? Murli. So through the Murli, he will tell me what's going on. So it's different than the touching power. It's very light, very subtle. Catching power will be a Murli. There will be a phrase there. Or it can be a class from someone, from another Brahmi. But it will be something that will be related to the situation you are asking about. So in that way, you will be sure about what to do, what not to do, because Baba is telling you what's going on, what's happening. And that power is strong too. I'll just want to read another excerpt of a Murli. This is only for catching power. So this is a Murli originally from the 70s. So December the 3rd, 1970. But it was reread in June 21st, 2009. Today, Baptad is seeing two things in each of you. To what extent each of you has become knowledgeful and powerful. In this, Baba is also so powerful, the catching power of each of you is. the main basis of effort is catching power. Nowadays, scientists try to catch a sound, but what is it that all of you catch with the power of silence? Just as they try to catch the sound of a time from the past, in the same way, what's it that you can catch? Can you catch your divine sanskars of 5,000 years ago? Have you imbibed that much catching power? So the idea of catching power is to, through Baba's knowledge, I can pick up whatever memories I have, the sanskars I have from the past cycle, so I can understand what I have to do in these circumstances. So we don't have just the horizontal line, we have also the vertical line. Because particularly during the destruction, when things start to collapse everywhere, when it's not a rehearsal anymore, things now is for sure. This is happening. This is it. At that moment, it will be very difficult to have the touching power. Very difficult. People will be attacking you. Baba, I don't want to frighten you. You can read Baba's Murlis. Baba talks about the four fire coming against you, everything burning all over, everything will go down. No internet, nothing will be there. Okay. So that's the moment we need a lot of touching power. But it won't be easy. And we have to understand that, because we'll be in such a turmoil that won't be easy to connect to Baba. You'll be thinking about your back that's hurt, or your stomach that's empty. You will think about that person can attack me. I mean, it's horrible. So the catching power, however, is a little easier. I think of Baba very deeply, with honest heart. Baba is not Google. I mean, it's not that you ask Baba what to do in these situations and Baba gives you the answer. No. But if I do it from the heart in a very honest way, Baba, I tried so many things. I don't know what to do anymore. So you have to respond to me. And you read the Murli, the answer is there. The other day I was going through some situation. So I told Baba, Baba, I need to talk to you. Don't know how, but I need to talk to you. And the whole Murli was like Baba was talking to me. He was telling me off, yeah, that's fact. But he was talking to me. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. I had many times that experience. And the Murlis you have printed, right? Everyone has printed Murlis, right? Huh? Because I know that some souls from Ukraine, they didn't have printed Murli. The war came and they remained without Murli for some time. So don't be senseless. Just print a few Murlis. You don't need to print 1,000 Murlis. You just need a few Murlis there. So you take one Murli. Baba from your heart, from the depths of yourself. And Baba will give you the answer. Because catching power is basically based on two things: knowledge. So all the knowledge we have been accumulating, all the knowledge that has come to us, it will be useful for that right moment. But I have to use it. So I have to ask Baba, what to do in these circumstances. And the second thing is your dharna. Dharna is whatever you have worked on yourself in such a way that's now natural. You don't have to make effort anymore. We have to be honest. There are things that we have to make effort to do. Okay, for some Brahmins is the effort to wake up for Amritivela, others to be pure vegetarian, But there are things that are very natural in myself. They are part of me. Even a Brahmin who left Baba, and I know a few. Yesterday, one brother came. He used to come to the center. His ex-wife, his former wife, she was a famous artist here in Colombia. She's now a healer. And she used to come to the Muli daily. So when they were engaged, he used to come to the Muli from time to time for lectures. And yesterday he came after many years. And still there is a little vibration. And I thought, if someone like him, who really didn't follow anything of Baba, really not, but he was able to catch something from Baba, and I could feel, when I came close to him, I could feel that little vibration from Baba. So imagine us, how many things are part of our Dharna. Dharna is like the DNA, DNA or ADN in English. So the basic structure of a Brahmin. And these are the two things that will help you with the catching power. And you will be able to survive any situation. So in terms of GPS, what will happen? Either you follow the GPS completely, so that's the touching power, or you start to see the neighborhood and you say, oh, I know this place. And I know if I turn right here, there is another street ahead, I can turn it left. And that would be much easier than this route. That would be great. And that's the catching power. So you have some knowledge that will help you. But of course, you cannot have second intentions. You have to have your clean heart, and that's part of the Dharma. So these are the two powers. So I'm going to give you an example. So I want you to see in front of you a scene in the drama. The place where you are is falling down. You are able to reach the gate, and you open the gate or the door. Just open. You are in the ground floor. It's day, it's light, and you can see people running. And you also have to run. But there are three directions. In front of you, most people, hundreds of people are running. So imagine, just visualize. On your left, few people, very few people. But these are the people you like. There is that sister who cooks so well, very good cook. She's there. That brother who is very sweet, he's also there. So these people, they are very nice to you. So on your left, that's the situation. On your right, you know those people. They are very few, and you know them, and you don't like them. You really don't like them. You have not a good karma with them. You can't talk to them. You can't be open to them. So now you are standing there. So what do you? I ask you. So think about. So what are you going to do? Well, first reaction is, you just run away because the house is falling. Okay? But you are Brahmin. You have Dharna now. So even so, it's not going well, you are able to keep some peace. You are able to be calm. You don't have time to read the Murli now. You don't have. You cannot call anybody, no internet, no phone calls, nothing. You are just there. So The first thing you can do, according to these two powers, is to really clean your mind of all fear or anything. Just put a full stop and think of the point, Baba, and that you are a point. So do that for 1 second. So now Baba has the path clear for him to send you the touching. And of course, you are seeing the situation, so the catching power will be enabled too. And you don't have knowledge at that moment. You don't have access to knowledge, but you have your dharna. So you use your dharna there. And Baba's touching power is go to the right, where those bad people are going there. But that's Baba's touching. Your desire is to go to the left, and your instinct to run along with everyone there, thousands of people there, so you run towards them. So where are you going? You're going to follow your instinct, your desire, or this touching of Baba that you really don't know if it's a touching really. It's so subtle. It didn't come in words. It's just a pull. Baba is just pulling you to go there and not here. Because that situation will happen, and will happen a lot, and probably more and more and more and more. So that's why before that, we have to train ourselves from time to time. We have to just feel Baba's touching and just do it. Or ask Baba more in the Murli. Ask about your physical situations, work situations, something very, very mundane, very logic. So check the Murli and see the answer there, because it will be there. So in this way, we are training our intellect to follow Baba and not following your desire. Just follow Baba. I give you a funny example. So many years ago, we are in a house, and someone, they lend us an apartment nearby the house, quite near the house. So that apartment, it was in another area, however, so it would be used for special programs, and it was a very nice apartment. So the three of us were there. So 2 brothers and myself. The 2 brothers, they were kind of athletic a little bit. They were very agile. I was not. I was obese, and so I was not so fast, so quick. So the 3 of us went there, and it was raining. So that day in the Murli, Babu was talking about don't step on the mud. Of course, Babu was referring to body consciousness. That's a point that comes up in the Murlis many times. Don't step on the mud. That means keep on swinging, in the swing of love, peace, happiness. But because it was raining, it was very difficult for me to not take that as a sign from Baba that I shouldn't step on the mud, because there were mud everywhere. It was raining. So the 3 of us were walking, and they were very fast, but I was slow because I was careful not stepping on the mud. And then I heard the sound, and I look ahead. One of the brothers, he fell down because he slipped on the mud. So I used that expression, that story, which is true. And I told him, remember, Baba said today, do not step on the mud. That Baba will come and Baba will help us in the most exceptional ways, in the most unusual ways. Baba's help won't be logical. Baba's help will have the taste of broccoli. It will be a little bitter. But Baba's help will be extremely effective. And these two powers will help us to get Baba's help at the full extent. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So I don't know if there are any questions.
I don't see any questions yet, but thank you for everything. Yes, you remind me of many things in my Brahmin life, especially one I was not that clear. It was a touching power or cutting power, and we were on Baba's Rock with 3 more Brahmins. We were 4, and there were 3 thieves behind us. And the 3 thieves attacked the other 3, and there was not a thief for myself, so I stayed with Baba for a second, and I said, Baba, what I'm doing now? And he told me, run and go to the police. And I had to run all the way down the hill. There was not a road at that time, and I ran and ran. I didn't even remember how I went down to the lake. And I stopped a motorcycle, and I told him, please take me to the police station now. And I went there, and everything was okay. But at that time, I didn't realize what kind of power I was using, touching or catching power. And yes, Baba was telling me, go to the police station now. And I ran and did it. And then the daddies were there, and they were admitted me with so much, they gave me so much power, but yes. And sometimes we may not be very clear if we go vertical or horizontal, which is the power, the catching power or the touching power. Baba is very subtle, but we can catch it. Some comment here, and something in Turkish, which I don't understand. Something like thank you, I think. I don't know if anyone has any other. Is touching power similar to inner voice, or it's only my manmat?
If you're remembering Baba very deeply, if you don't have desires, then it's Baba's touching. I mean, Mohini did once she was giving, I was in Chile, she was giving a lecture there. Very nice lecture, by the way. I really enjoyed. And the lecture was mixed with Brahmins, so I don't remember if it was a class for Brahmins. And she was saying something very interesting. She was saying, whom do you listen inside our mind? Do you listen to Baba? So we said yes. She said, no, you listen to yourself. But it is Baba who is giving you those ideas. So Baba is behind the thing, is behind that. So of course, the touching power will come like a pull. Maybe will come like inner voice. It will come in many different ways, but it comes a lot. It's Baba's magic, and we need Baba's magic because we don't know what will happen next. And in the example I gave, probably many people would go to the left side because people they are there in the left, and they will think they'll be safe there. And Baba's touching may be sending you to the place that you wouldn't go. So you need to be very clean. If you are clean, if you don't have any desire, that will be it. You receive some touching, something will happen, sign, and then you are going to do that. And it's really, really, really amazing. And yes, as Maria was saying, and I remember that story, I was in Madhuban, in fact, and it was, well, I didn't know the details. I never asked for the details, I know that a group of souls from Greece have been robbed and all of that. And I really feel that's the way, because many things can happen to you, many different situations. These two powers together, they are our GPS, and we need both. So we need that line of the intellect extremely clear, but we also need knowledge, and we need dharma, to develop dharma a lot, so that those ideas will come. Now, in the Lokic world, they also have touching power, but it's not from God. We know that. It can be from God in terms of a vision, because they have done so much bhakti. So that's why they receive that energy. And they have catching power in terms of intuition. Intuition is like catching power too. But we have to go beyond all of this. We have to really trust Baba, and trust whatever Baba is saying, whatever Baba is giving me the touch, because he knows much, much more than myself.
I don't see any other question here.
I can see, I think, no.
There is something in Spanish?
Yeah, there is something in Spanish here. Someone is Andrea from Uruguay. She's giving her experience that she left the gas in her house open, and she received that touching, that she went back there. And it can be intuition, yes, it can be. Sometimes you won't see the difference. At the end, during the destruction, you see the difference. Intuition will take you to the wrong side. Forget. But Baba's touching and the catching power, it will take you to the right side. But nowadays, yes, many times I feel something, and is it right or not? Well, for instance, I made a small decision. It was not big at that moment. And months later, I realized I really didn't do the procedure as it should. So the decision was not good, So it can happen. It can happen. That's why, look, just be a child. If you are God as the big one, he will take you wherever you have to go. He will help you in whatever way possible to protect you so much. We have seen that with the daddies, with the seniors, and so many times how things happen and Baba protected. And we say, wow, how is it possible that God protected us? There was one sister from Germany, and she was saying how she parked in the wrong way. I don't know I don't remember what was wrong about the parking. And when she went back to the car, all the other cars, they have a fine. They have a ticket there, no, of a fine, except hers. Her car was the only one that was not fined. Even so, she was in the same situation, and it was all mixed up there. So she never realized, how is it possible? And I think there is another question there, but...
Yes, there is a. Baba said that he will give us an answer even if we didn't ask question. Any comment on that?
Yeah, yes. Sometimes Baba talks about that. I mean, Baba is not Google. It's not that I ask him and he responds to me. But it's the magic of the soul. So if I need something, I need this. So the thought of needing something is like a question. So, and that, if it's for Baba, it will reach Baba. I can share you something that was very funny. India, I had many different experiences now when I went to Madhuban last time. but not in Madhuban, except it was outside Madhuban. And last year, I had a shave machine, shave machine for brothers. That's very, very important, especially if you travel sometimes. So you carry that in your handbag. The proper shave machine that I used to use, I can't carry in the handbag. So I had one, and I realized it was like 20 years old, the shave machine. And I looked my shave machine, which was very old. It was still working, very small, very portable. And I just had a thought. I would like to have another one, Baba. I just had the thought, and I forgot completely. So when I went to India, I did some servicing a few companies there in Panipati. Panipati is a city. You are in Delhi, so if you go to Delhi, on one side is overseas, on the other side is Panipati. And there is a very nice brother there, Bharat Bhushan. I think he went to a few countries there. So Bharat Bhushan he took me there, and so he took me to this company, and they gave gifts. That's normal. And the gift was, guess what? A shaving machine, but a very good one, excellent one. I'm still using here. And I thought, how is it possible that Baba got that thought? I mean, it was not important, really. I mean, it's good. It is important, but it's not something that I couldn't live without. And it's amazing. I mean, it shaved my shower time in 5 minutes or something like that. But I felt like how Baba can catch that. So maybe you don't ask as a question. That's true. But if you need something that is for your self-progress, that's what Baba was saying, the Murli, for your self-progress, or for the service, it will come to you. So Baba will get that thought, and he will do the drama in such a way. So I was touched to accept the invitation to go to that town, even though my health is not good. So I went to that town, and I was touched to go there, and so everything worked. I felt like I was there just to receive that shaving machine. I don't know, and it was very nice. So I hope that works. So every time you need something from Baba, you tell Baba before telling another person, because sometimes you have to tell another person, I need this. Ask Baba first. Tell Baba first. Don't ask as a beggar or devotee. Ask like a child. No, hey, Dad, you have to give me this. There's no option. So Dad has to give that. Okay? Is that fine?
Yes, very clear. There's some other messages which I don't understand.
I can understand you.
Yeah, you can see them.
Well, Baba protects us, Baba guides us. That's what it happened to me. So I didn't ask anything from Baba. So it was his protection. Baba is Antaryami. And so he gives the answers without asking him, because he knows whatever is going on inside. It's the magic of Baba's love. And also a rehearsal to refine the intellect. And that I agree a lot. These little things, these small things that happen in our lives, don't undervalue them, because that's what's happening. Your intellect is being trained. When distraction comes, it will be a huge thing. It will be something that will come from all the sides at the same time. Like one Muli Baba was saying, there will be one problem here, one problem there, one problem there. Right now is like that. But at the destruction, all the problems will come together at the same time. Like climate change in the world now. There is fire, drought, there is extreme cold. In South Africa, in Baba Center in Johannesburg, there was snow there. So all of that is happening at the same time. So this is the preparation for us for destruction. So have a happy journey towards that with lots of GPS. Remember the GPS. No, so just keep your intellect, line the intellect of clear, very clear, your heart very clean, lots of knowledge, and work on your dharma. Everything will be okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.